Just not true. Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Today I want to dispel 5 myths that are commonly being said about Japanese Pokemon cards. Whether it's in investing circles, in collecting circles, doesn't really matter. Just 5 things you hear a lot online that simply aren't true, or at least not entirely true. I brought back Metapod today symbolically because he's giving people who say these things a bit of a side eye. But yeah, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show. Let's get right into it. Myth number 1, Pokemon Japan only prints for Japan. You might know that Japanese products, for example booster boxes, on the back say for sale in Japan only. The same is of course true for booster packs. Every single booster pack on the back says down here, for sale in Japan only. A lot of people online, especially in the investing circles, often say that because this is written on these products, it means that Pokemon Japan only prints for Japanese demand. You heard this a lot last year when Japanese product was going crazy. All the investors saying, hey look, this stuff is only printed for the Japanese market, but people all over the world want it, so it's great to invest in Japanese stuff. There's just not enough out there for everyone. Well, today, with all these reprints, we're hearing this said a lot less, but I think some people still believe this. And I have to say, this hasn't been true for a very long time. If we go back to, for example, Black and White, X and Y, yes, maybe you can make the argument that at the time, Pokemon Japan was truly only printing for the demand in Japan, because at the time, demand for Japanese product outside of Japan was near zero. It was very niche. Now, Japanese exclusive promos always had a bit of demand, but when it came to Japanese set cards, man, if you were collecting Japanese set cards in like 2015, you were super deep down in the niche. You were 1 in a million. I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea. Well, nowadays, and for quite a few years now, Japanese products are very mainstream. People all over the world collect them. There are a lot of Japanese-only collectors now outside of Japan, way more than we've ever had in the past. And of course, Pokemon Japan has been ramping up the print numbers, not just now with all these reprints, but even before. And if there was no outside of Japan demand for this stuff, then these print numbers would all likely be much smaller. You can say Pokemon Japan is either directly or indirectly printing for people outside of Japan. It doesn't really matter. The whole point is, because this stuff is being sold outside of Japan in such large quantities, Japan needs to print more so that people in Japan can get it. And so they are, at least indirectly, accounting for outside of Japan demand. But then also more directly, you look at the 151 made to order boxes, the Clayburst made to order boxes we had a while back, the Precious Collector box that was simply a pre-order. Thousands of people outside of Japan ordered these products from Pokemon Japan, and Pokemon Japan directly printed 151 boxes for people outside of Japan. So this whole argument that Pokemon Japan only prints for the Japanese market, it's simply not true anymore in 2024, and it hasn't been true for quite a few years. You know, if you think about it, if there was no outside demand for Japanese products suddenly overnight, there would be way too many chase cards in the world for the Japanese market to absorb. So when you hear someone say in their YouTube video, because this is written on the back of the packs, Pokemon Japan only prints for people in Japan, and that means there is not enough out there for people in the world. It's just not really true anymore nowadays. Used to be a thing, maybe, but definitely not anymore. Myth number 2, Japanese loose packs are worthless. This is something you will hear a lot and read a lot in Japanese Pokemon investing circles. If you go to the Poke investing subreddit, I go there like once or twice a week just to kind of keep up with what everyone is talking about. I'm not taking really any advice from there. Some of the posts are kind of wild, but I think it's a good place to go and get some information just to, kind of keep up to date with what people are talking about. But you'll hear people say on there all the time, don't bother with loose Japanese packs. People don't want them because they're weighable. They're essentially worthless. You have to assume they're all searched on the market. And of course, that's kind of true in the sense that yes, packs can easily be weighed in Japanese, and I would not recommend buying loose Japanese packs on the market unless you get it from a reputable source like the Pokemon Center Japan, or maybe someone like Poke.ne, someone who I think you can trust. But don't go on eBay and just buy loose packs. However, what these people fail to understand is that loose Japanese packs actually have value, not just a little bit, but actually decent value, and you'd be surprised. I'm going to show you some examples now that might shock you. Now, some of you might already be aware of this, but I'll throw up some screenshots I got from eBay, and holy cow, it's kind of crazy. Okay, so these are screenshots from a couple days ago. We can see right here, single packs, Japanese 151 863 yen, 1,334 yen. MSRP for a single Japanese 151 pack is 290 yen. You can do the math. That's significantly above MSRP for a single pack. Here we have a listing for 10 packs. 10 packs sold for 4,600 yen in the UK. Ignore the shipping costs. I'm looking at these from eBay Japan, which is why we have these insane shipping prices. Just look at the green number. That's all that matters. But yeah, that's 460 yen per pack. Again, significantly above MSRP. Now this one's crazy. A light Japanese 151 pack. No hit in here. An absolute dud pack. 667 yen, more than double MSRP. Now you might say, well, that's 151. It's very popular. People want it really bad. What about the kind of the less popular sets? Well, I have this right here for a reason. Future Flash is probably the least popular set, at least of the recent Scarlet and Violet sets. Out of all the sets that are now below MSRP, this one's the cheapest. All right, well, let's look at Future Flash right here. 3 packs for 863 yen, 3 packs for over 1,000 yen. MSRP for these is 180 yen. Here we have 1 pack of Future Flash, 1 pack of Agent Roar for 1,000 yen, 500 yen a pack. Again, MSRP is 180. 10 packs Future Flash, 3,000 yen. Now this is where it gets kind of wild. A booster box of Future Flash contains 30 packs. So 3 times this lot, which would make it 9,000 yen of value in these 30 packs. Well, here's a sale of a booster box. 6,000 yen in the UK, 7,000 yen in the US. So the person selling these loose packs is getting a massive premium by selling loose packs instead of a booster box. You get the idea. I don't think I need to show more examples. Look, I'm not recommending you to go out and invest a lot of money into loose Japanese packs. They are probably a pain in the butt to sell. You're going to have to deal with a lot more problematic buyers who might be upset they didn't get the pull they were looking for. I don't know about that, right? I'm not saying like it's the better investment or anything like that if you are an investor. I'm just saying the myth that loose packs are worthless and are not worth picking up, it's simply not true. People are paying a premium for loose packs. Why is that the case? Well, the vast majority of people in this hobby are not on YouTube, are not on Instagram, are certainly not on the Poke Investing subreddit. They don't know these things, right? A lot of people don't even know that Japanese packs are weighable, which is a problem. And, I wish everyone knew that, but that's just the reality. And there are also a lot of casual buyers out there, maybe a mom buying packs for their kids or a grandma buying packs for their grandchildren. Many, many potential reasons out there. Point is, most people are not so deep in the hobby. They're not watching these videos of people talking about weighable packs and the price of a booster box versus the price of packs. None of that stuff. Just trying to give you examples of why this is certainly a myth nowadays, that there's somehow no value in loose packs. Myth number 3, the Japanese market is dead. Very big myth, honestly. Has it crashed compared to last year? Of course, it's crashed big time, but it is far from dead. And I'll paraphrase or quote Pokémon. He uploaded a video the other day where he talked about this exact topic. I'll link it down below. Check it out if you want to. He's never been selling more boxes to more people. There are now more people buying from him, and the people that are buying from him are buying more boxes. He is doing better in this current, supposedly dead market than he did all of last year when Japanese was going absolutely crazy. Or you go to, a card store in Japan on release day, and there are people in there. I mean, these are full of people ripping the newest sets, multiple boxes. The players love it. Collectors still buy them. It's just that there is a lot of supply on the market. I have this as an example for a reason. VMAX Climax, you see the price I paid, 4,900 yen. That is below MSRP. No one's ever said VMAX Climax is a bad set. It's a fantastic set, one of the best ever, in my opinion at least. This stuff was sitting in card stores below MSRP. In Tokyo, it was easy to get below MSRP. Card stores couldn't sell it at MSRP. So if we're seeing stuff below MSRP today, it doesn't mean the market is dead. It just means we're going back to kind of a more normal state. I believe people who say the Japanese market is dead either have a very surface level understanding of the market, the Japanese market, or they simply haven't been around long enough to really understand. If you entered the hobby last year, it might seem like the market is dead, but let me tell you, this was normal. Before everything went crazy, it was never hard to find product. Product was very cheap, and we did sometimes have stuff below MSRP, just like this VMAX Climax box. Now, is Japanese Pokemon as investable as everyone thought it was? Well, that's a topic for another conversation, and I want to make a video about that in the future. Some very interesting stuff to talk about there, in my opinion. But look, the Japanese market isn't dead. People are loving it. Certainly the kids are loving the newest sets, the newest cards, the newest Pokemon. Just because us old boomers don't like the Scarlet and Violet Pokemon doesn't mean the market is dead. Could Pokemon Japan keep printing sets into the ground and overdo it and actually hurt the market big time long term? It's possible, but I think, the multi-billion-dollar company is smart enough to not do that. You want people, and I think Pokey said this as well in his video, you want people to be able to go to the Pokemon Center and buy packs, right? When all the people in Japan and the tourists come to Japan, go to the Pokemon Center, and there are no packs, that is frustrating. That's just sad. That's not a good thing. We are back to normal, or I would say almost back to normal, and we are heading in the right direction. Myth number 4. It's always cheapest to buy from Japan. This is something I actually see a lot in my comments, and it's not people saying that directly, but it's people's idea that you have to buy it from Japan to find good deals, when in reality, for many cards and sealed products or whatever it might be, Japan might actually be more expensive. The reason why I included this is because I got a comment on one of my card store videos of someone saying, hey, thanks Dark Ibex, because of this video I was able to find a Japanese base set booster pack in a card store, and I think they mentioned Muggy. I know what Muggy charges for base set packs, roughly. I'm pretty sure they're charging about 70,000 yen. Well, let's see what Japanese base set packs cost on eBay. Recent auction in the United States, 40,000 yen. USA, best offer accepted at 50,000. UK, 55,000. So all these are cheaper than the card stores in Japan. But what about online in Japan? Well, if we go to Mercari, we can see recent sales, and some of these are like a day ago, 2 days ago, 65,000 yen, 64,000 yen, 63,000 yen, 64.6, 60. And I have the Jungle Pack as well as an example, because it goes in the same direction. If you look at eBay, there's one auction that went for 27,000 yen, but then there's a buy it now for 16,500 yen, and some more auctions for, 24,000 yen. These are all pretty damn recent if you see the dates. If we go back to Mercari Japan, now this is a short crimp pack, which is why it's so expensive. But then, 26,000 yen, 27, 28, 26, 26, 26. You get the idea. And so that person who bought the base set booster pack, I don't know where they're from. Maybe they're from a country where they would also have to pay really high international shipping prices on eBay. So for them, maybe it made sense to buy, the pack in Muggy. But if you're outside of Japan, especially in the United States, just check eBay. Like, the good deals are right there in front of you in your own country. And, having to buy from Japan, it's not the thing. It's not a thing. Modern cards, modern chase cards, stuff like that, sure, is probably cheaper in Japan than it is on eBay. And you can find deals. And older stuff too, single cards, you find good deals in Japan, online especially, of course. But I think a lot of people are just sort of obsessed with this idea of having to buy something from Japan because it's Japan, that's where all the good deals are. When for much product, especially older stuff, sealed, especially niche stuff, you can get it for a lot cheaper outside of Japan. And the reasons are pretty simple. The demand for a Jungle Booster Pack, Japanese, is just much higher in Japan than it is outside of Japan. It makes sense to me. Why? Just getting interrupted because this arrived on a Pokemon Center. Paradigm Trigger reprint box. There it is. Look at that. They added the tear strip. So you can differentiate reprint booster boxes from the earlier ones. And some 151 packs. And a cool little gift. Sorry for the distraction. Back to the topic. Yeah, there's just more demand for vintage Japanese stuff in Japan. It makes sense. Myth number 5. Japanese cards are easy to grade. This one requires a bit more explaining, so hear me out. You often hear online from people saying how easy it is to grade Japanese cards. They'll say, Japanese cards, pack fresh, PSA 10 all day long, no problem, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Well, I think that's not quite true. These beautiful 151 SARs are a fantastic example. I've been having fun with the reprint, opening some packs, and actually been really lucky pulling some SARs. I usually never pull chase cards, so been getting lucky recently. Zapdos, Mew, Giovanni. Now, you might notice from looking at these cards that they're all a little bit off-center. The Mew especially. We actually pulled this in the live stream. That was pretty cool. You can see it's pretty thin on the right. Zapdos is definitely better, but you can see thinner here. Giovanni, kind of the same story, a little thinner over here. Now look, do Japanese cards have better quality than English cards? Yes, they do. On average, Japanese cards are cleaner than English cards and are therefore easier to grade than English cards. Is it easy to find well-centered, clean Japanese cards online? Yes, it's quite easy. But not every Japanese pack fresh card is a PSA 10. These are 3 cards I personally wouldn't send in for grading. I think, these 2 maybe have a shot at a 10 still. I've seen PSA 10s with this kind of centering, but I wouldn't take the risk. And people who say these things, they'll point out the PSA 10 populations and the 9 to 10 ratio and say, look, 90% of Japanese cards get PSA 10s. But what they fail to mention is that it's 90% of the cards that are being sent in. And like I just mentioned, personally at least, I would not send in these 3 cards to get graded. The reason why I included this myth in this video is because I don't want people to have false expectations. If you were to listen to these people and somehow believe and think that every Japanese card is a PSA 10 or 90% of them are PSA 10s, and then you open your booster box, you get really lucky and you pull that amazing SAR and it is OC like the Mew, you might be super disappointed. I am used to this. Most of the cards I pull are a little OC. Here's another card I pulled recently. Look at that centering, right? These are all from different days, different Pokemon centers, so these are not all from like the same batch. Japanese cards aren't perfect, and they are easier to grade than English cards. They're easier to find in mint condition, well-centered, all of that, of course. But Japanese cards are not as easy to grade as people make it out to be. And you can certainly pull a Japanese card straight from a booster box that is not a PSA 10. Alrighty, that sums it up for this video. Let me know what you think about these 5 myths that I talked about. Do you have other examples maybe that you've experienced yourself or found something that people said online that you think wasn't true? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. If you totally disagree with me, that's cool. I would love to hear your comment. I love to engage in discussions. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for that, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.